Okay, it says we are live. I'll give this a few moments. We're starting just a little bit early.
This is a story about a magical place.
And that's a noob mistake right there, but I see an advertisement, so that's pretty exciting. If everybody can confirm that you can see and hear me, that would be great. Dennis, appreciate it. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Hope everyone is well. So it's been a little while. We did not have a live stream last week. I'm kind of, I don't know. I'm at a weird crossroads. I love doing this. I love the solo chats. It's so much fun just to nerd out on guns and kind of talk about whatever we want to talk about. Occasionally bring on a guest or something like that. But I've had a couple of folks that are also involved in the YouTube world caution me a little bit that you don't want to overdo it with live streams and that sort of thing. So I want to ask all of you good people, my favorite people out there, do you guys enjoy this? Is this something you like every week? Because whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, this is all for you guys, and it's all to have a good time and interact with you guys, because I appreciate each and every one of you. But I'm very curious to know what you guys think about that. I mean, I've toyed with the idea of going back to maybe every 2 weeks or something like that. I don't know. We'll have to kind of see how things go. Ferrets with Guns, good to see you. Brian Walter, good to see you. Good to see every one of you guys. Drew Safer, everybody, Rightly Faust. Good to see you as well. See Kim, thanks. Buffer Weekly, appreciate it. We'll keep or watching paint dry. I like that. We'll keep it up for every week for now. Tuesdays seem to work pretty well for me, and there's still enough time to work on videos and that sort of thing. Even though we do this, and then we do the following chat the next night with Big Johnson in 1776 or Bust. Now, one thing I may end up doing, because I have gotten some negative comments on the chats. There are too many, that sort of thing. In fact, I had a comment from a guy the other day when I dropped a video. He said, finally, you've done a real video. It's only been those live videos lately. And I'm like, man, I drop at least one big video every week on Saturday mornings without fail, as much as I possibly can. But for whatever reason, he didn't appreciate that very much. So on the excuse me, on the weeks that I host the Three Guys Gun Chat as much as possible, that might be a week that I take a pass on the Tuesday night chat, because butting up against each other one night after the other on this channel may not make as much sense. So we'll just have to kind of keep things going. So we'll see. Eric Davis, keep it coming. I can't stand the TYM turns out 3 crap vids a day. Yeah, I try not to do that. I really do want to put out more conversational videos occasionally, that with a topic that inspires me. Somebody said I was a trigger snob the other day. That's a fantastic video idea, and I totally am a trigger snob, or at least I think I'm becoming one, and I have no problem making a video about that, and why the evolution of triggers and things that I've experienced over even just a few years on the channel. It's evolved so much, and I'm a lot more critical of them than I was in the very beginning. In the very beginning, I just talked about what it was, and that was pretty much it. There wasn't as much of an opinion, but that's not really the case so much anymore. So I don't know. Kathleen Music Lover, tell Big Johnson not to let shrapnel hit him in the face. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but he did get a little surprise in the face. Thankfully, he was not hurt. That's the big deal there. But so I'll tell you guys a little story. Young Guns, good to see you. Scott, good to see you as well. Everybody, good to see you. Range Randy, Charles. So last week, Centerfire Shooting Sports does a league competition a couple, 2-3 times a year. I used to shoot that competition years ago, back in my more competitive days. I don't have the time and the money to do that with the channel anymore. But I went and I did some filming there. They asked me to come in and do some filming for some promotional stuff, which was a blast. It was so much fun. I've never done anything like that before. It might turn out like crap. I have no idea, but it was still fun. But they shoot steel, and they shoot steel indoors. Now, they were shooting at about 25 or 30 yards away, which is generally considered pretty safe once you get about 30 yards or so. But I'll tell you what, probably 3 or 4 dozen times I was pinged with just little pieces of shrapnel, and they were pretty slow by that time. I mean, I had one on my leg that drew a little bit of blood. I mean, it wasn't a big deal. It was more, I was irritated at myself than anything else. But you got to be kind of careful when you're shooting steel, because that stuff that stuff will go everywhere. So it's kind of a crazy deal. Spec, good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Appreciate it, man. I did have a question a little while ago. Pistol Pete, I think you asked something a while ago. What do you do to get ready before a chat starts? I don't have any ritual or anything like that. I get a couple of guns out for inspiration. I've got 5 guns in front of me right now. Plus, I'm kind of a dork. I always enjoy having a gun or two in front of me that I can dry fire, not loaded or anything like that. There are loaded guns, but just things that I can just enjoy. And also, if I'm studying a gun and getting ready to do videos, that's kind of part of the ritual that I go through and everything. You know, I've always got a few guns out and about, and then get everything else ready, grab some water, that sort of thing. I do like the bourbon, but that comes after the live stream. So I don't do that on the live stream anymore. So Dennis B, should I have ham and cheese or turkey? You know, I'm a big fan of turkey. I'm not going to lie to you, but I'll eat pretty much any sandwich you put in front of me. So just kind of a thing. It's kind of a thing. Lauren Bowley, if you could only have one, bacon or sausage? Bacon. Everything goes better with bacon. I'm telling you that right now. Scott, Gun Jesus had a piece of splash when he was shooting steel go into his chest. Oh, that sounds awful. That is absolutely awful. Jeez, man. Mark Linder, good to see you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I haven't worn a Glock shirt in a really long time. I actually have a couple of them. I bought them years and years ago. So I'll tell you another story that was pretty interesting. You guys know I put out the core belt video yesterday. I love those belts. Absolutely love them. And a guy said he was a longtime subscriber, and he said that I've turned into a shill. And he was no longer going to subscribe and put a thumbs down and that sort of thing. And that was it. I was going to comment on it, but I decided not to because I just didn't feel that it was really worth it. But guys, I will tell you, I don't get paid for any of this stuff. This is all self-funded, every single thing. I love guns and I love the gear and all that kind of stuff. Yes, I occasionally will get a free product from a manufacturer to test out and put out a video. I mean, that's kind of how that works. And I get to say whatever I want. If it's junk, I'm going to tell you it's junk. Or if it's bad enough, I'm not even going to put out a video. I go back to those Diamondbacks. It was a bad enough experience that I couldn't even put out a video. I just sent the guns back and said, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity, but I can't do it because I don't want to misrepresent something, and I don't want to put out information. I mean, it's a whole thing, but it's unfortunate that people have kind of come into a place where product videos have become such a problem. I mean, to ask you guys, what do you guys think of product videos when a firearms channel or any channel, I watch a lot of photography and videography, cars, that sort of thing. Those guys all put out product videos all the time. What do you guys think of product videos? Is that a good way for you guys to see what new products and innovations are out there and maybe get somebody's opinion on it? Or do you see a product video and go, forget it, I'm not even going to watch. I don't even care anymore. It's not a thing. I'll do my own research. I'm really curious about that because I learn a lot from you guys. You guys help steer the channel. So I'm curious about that. Young Guns, just make sure you pace yourself, and if you feel burnout coming on, to take a break. Yeah, thankfully there's no burnout. I've got a pretty good schedule that I keep, and so it's not really that big of a deal. But Stephen Worth, KS is a shill. Yeah, I'm not. I mean, it's not a thing. To be a shill, it means you basically are being paid and you will say nothing but positive things about something. And that absolutely is not true. First of all, I haven't been paid anything from anyone. But also I say what I want to say. Generally speaking, most of the products that I bring on, or guns that I bring on, it's mostly guns, I find things that I like about them. I've got the video coming out this week. It's on the Mossberg. It's a good gun. It's not a great gun. There are some things I do not like about that gun. However, hopefully it's a relatively fair representation of what the gun is, because at the end of the day, it's a good gun, and I can see why people would want to run with it. So just kind of an interesting deal, always makes you sit back and ponder things a little bit. Ranger 10 millimeter core belts all day. I mean, I've been impressed. I'm wearing one right now. That's all I've been wearing lately. So it's all very genuine. So it's just interesting stuff. Kathleen, music lover, when are you going to do gun purses? Centerfire has them. I probably could pick some up. It'd be something a little bit different for sure. Jason Simon, appreciate it, man. Product videos are important, especially from a trusted source like you. I thank you. That's very nice of you to say. I mean, I'm a consumer like everybody else. I want to know if something works or something doesn't, because I spend money on products as well. A lot of the stuff that I put together on Polymer 80s, that sort of thing, I've bought most of that stuff. I've gotten the occasional little free gizmo here or there to try out and test and talk about, but by and large, I mean, most all of that stuff is self-funded. And that's good. That keeps me. I get to say what I want without any sort of bad feelings or anything like that. I like that. So, anywho, Scott P, it all depends on if it's a product that I'm interested in. That makes perfect sense. It's absolutely true. You're not going to watch every one there, and there's no reason to. If it's not something you're into, like the belt, if you have a belt that works for you, run with it. There's no reason to get something else. So I think that that absolutely makes sense. Charles, talk pistols. Well, what pistols do you want to talk about? I love talking guns. What guns are interesting to you right now? Did you guys hear that the Sig Sauer X5 Legion is on the way? Sig officially announced that. So I am very excited about that. Dexter, Core or Blue Alpha, they're both fantastic. They're both very good. I'm sort of leaning towards Core right now simply because of the adjustability. I actually really like that feature a lot, but they're both very good. Charles, interview people who are experts. Yeah, I mean, we try and bring people on when we can, no doubt about it. Your name here, good to see you. Appreciate it. Ken, Glock store stuff is junk. You know, I've never bought anything from the Glock store. That's good to hear. I like the feedback on that. Captain Shark, good to see you, man. Product videos are great, and I think most of us can tell pretty quickly when someone is artificially inflating expectations of an item, and likewise can tell when there's genuine excitement about a gun. That makes sense. Yeah, that's absolutely true. I was talking with Harry a little bit about that, Harry's Holsters last night, and he said the exact same thing. We're all smart people, right? So when we're watching content, again, I watch a lot of photography videos, and pretty quickly I can tell when there's an in there and it's not just genuinely somebody talking about something. So very true. Okay, so I hope I'm going to say this right. Is it Nightwolf TV? I hope I said that right. Love your follow-up video on the G2C. You know, man, it's a good gun. Bottom line, it's a good gun. And there's been a lot of positive comments that have come on that video. Some people have said, you know, I appreciate it. I still don't like Taurus. I'm not going to buy it, which I totally get. I totally get that. And I respect that very much. There are going to be some brands that you're just not going to dig for one reason or another. It might be because of past reputation, and I can totally appreciate that. When I first got into that Taurus, I had a lot of reservations and a lot of bias against it, but I really wanted to try it because other people had said it was good. And so far, my experience has been good as well. So that may change. And the second that thing starts failing, I will make a video about it. I have no shame in that whatsoever. And that might be the death of the channel if I do. But I will definitely put out a video about that. Pistol Pete saw Mac had another Sig issue video. Man, I'm telling you, what's the deal with that? He needs to stop getting into Sigs. You know, he just does. Dave Gass, good to see you. Anyone thinking about buying a Sig Legion, check out their promotion. Well, I am, brother. The X5, man. I'm all about that. And I'm hoping Frontier's going to try and sequester a Legion and a P365 XL if they can. I don't know how many Sig is going to put out, but if they can get their hands on one, hopefully we've got a deal going. So that would be very cool if we could. I'm stoked about those. It's funny though. I'm so much more stoked about the X5 than I am about the 365. The 365, it'll be interesting to see the differences in how it feels in the hand because it is a little bit longer in the grip. But that X5 just looks freaking sweet, and it's 8 ounces heavier, and it was already a pretty chunky gun. So I'm very excited for that, and it better be good. If it's not good, I may walk away from Sig forever after that. So we'll see. Scott, did you see those news slides they have for the 320s? I did. I think it was the Gun Collective had a video about that. They look pretty cool. I like the X series the way they are, so I don't have a need for something like that, even though I love modding guns. So, I mean, it sort of tugged on those heartstrings a little bit. But if you've got a regular P320, that might kind of be a cool thing. Get that slide, maybe do some Cerakote and up the trigger game a little bit. That might be a pretty cool thing, you know. Kevin, good to see you, man. Good to see you. I don't think I'd said hi to you yet. Ferrets with Guns. Does anyone know if M&P and M&P 2.0 barrels are interchangeable? They are not. They are not. Every barrel manufacturer for the 2.0 says explicitly these will not work in the 1.0. Now, it may be that they do, but based on the manufacturer's very clear warnings, there might be some very subtle differences between the two. So enter at your own risk on that. Noel, good to see you, man. I already have 4 rifles and 6 pistols. I know this is not too much, but when can I say that I have a problem? Never. You never have a problem because there's never enough. I firmly believe that. See, Kim, Mac is a SIG issue. You're right. It's just wild, man. I mean, I don't know. Eventually, you got to cut bait on that, right? Nightwolf TV, have you used Harry's behind the belt clips? I'm not sure which ones those are that you're speaking of. I've tried all the clips that he has available with the exception of the straps. I do not like the straps with the little snap in them. That's not a thing for me. I want a metal clip or a hefty polymer clip, something like that. But I've tried all of those. I'm not necessarily partial to one or the other as long as it securely holds it on the belt and I don't feel it kind of moving around. I have more success with the wider polymer clips, generally speaking. But the newer metal ones that have the little lip that kind of grabs the bottom of your belt seem to still do pretty well. So again, I don't necessarily have a preference there. Scott, you said something and then I shot right past it. Hang on a sec. I wanted to see. You said something about the MPX. I got to wind back there. So hang on. Curious about that. Okay, there we are. The MCX rather has had a lot of issues. It's realistically when all the changes they've made and not told people like a Generation 6 or a Generation 7. So yeah, I have no experience with the MCX, none at all. The MPX is freaking awesome though. I dig that thing. Ferrets with Guns, can't wait for the Stoger review. Well, it's I haven't shot it yet. I've been doing some dry firing. I did take it all the way down, took it completely apart. I couldn't resist. I am such a child. I was really curious to know if the components truly were exactly like Glock. So took it all down. It all came apart like a Glock, basically. And I put a different connector in because the connector that came with it, I mean, I'm telling you, a spitting image of a Glock connector. So I put a Zev race connector in and put it together. Nope, didn't work. In fact, it got stuck. I had to get a little bit creative taking it apart. I had to sneak a tool in and essentially not break the striker, but deactivate the striker to be able to get it back apart. So that was a lesson learned. I won't do that ever again. But man, they are so close. They are ridiculously close. In fact, I should have filmed it. It was sort of a later in the evening decision that I probably should not have done, but I sometimes get bored and get very curious about things. So needless to say, if you have a Stoger, Glock parts are not compatible with it. They just look exactly like Glock parts. So just in case you're curious on that. But I'm excited to shoot that one. I shot last night the Beretta, the Wilson Combat Beretta Centurion. I got to tell you guys, this thing is awesome. This thing is absolutely fantastic. It was a dream to shoot. The shooting was pretty mediocre, maybe a hair better than mediocre. The wrist is getting a little bit better, but it was just awesome. So much more accurate than I am, and I appreciate that. So that meant that it was a little bit more forgiving than some guns are. Some guns, man, if you're off even just a little bit, that thing is in the corner of the paper. This is not the case. I think it's great for almost any shooter out there. And the Vertec grip, it's the Vertec. It's not the standard Beretta grip. So it's a little bit smaller. You can get a little bit more around it, which I appreciate a lot. I think it would be such a great shooter for almost anyone. So really excited to put that together and get that out for you guys. That would be along, not this weekend, but next weekend, I hope. That's the plan anyway. Darren Blair and Darren Bear, sorry. I'm getting very behind, by the way. So I'll catch up here in a moment. People like what they like. Hearing about various brands is a good thing, good or bad. So appreciate that. Yeah, it's absolutely true. I do agree with that. I saw Big Johnson in there a minute ago. Howdy. How's the wheel gun coming, Dexter? Appreciate that, man. I actually do have that out. I was able to pick up some more moon clips. Here's the weird thing. So this is the 986, the bigger one, the Jerry Miculek version. I hope I'm saying his name right. It comes with like 8 or 10 moon clips. This thing came with 2, little chintzy on Smith's part. So I did order. I ordered a bundle of, I think it was either 8 or 10 on Midway USA for like $25. So plenty of moon clips to go around for sure. But I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited to shoot it. I'm a little bit nervous as well because your grip has to be so different, and I haven't been behind a revolver in 15 years, maybe longer than that. So it'll be a really interesting video, very interesting shooting experience. But I'm looking forward to it, man. I really am, and I think it's a cool looking gun. And I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. I'm just preparing myself now because it's a 9mm, so it's not a traditional wheel gun caliber. Although wheel guns have had semi-auto calibers for over 100 years, so I don't feel that bad about it. But some people are really going to say, that's not the way to do a revolver, which I can completely understand. But I love 9mm. It's plentiful, it's inexpensive, so it's more inexpensive to run this for video. And I just really, I wanted a 9mm. I mean, that I thought it would be really interesting in this form factor with this weight on it to see how a 9mm would do with it and how reliable it was and all that kind of thing and how much of a pain the moon clips are probably going to be. So I'm excited about that. Thanks for asking, man. Thanks for asking. Big Johnson, drinking and gunsmithing. I have been known to do that. Many of my polymer 80s have gone together after a couple of cocktails. I'm not going to lie to you. That's probably why they're all a little bit wonky. So, Darren, do you ever shoot outdoors? Very rarely. I don't have anything close enough where it's practical for me to do that. I'm in the city. I'm in a big city. So even though it's Kansas and you would think farms and all that kind of stuff, I've never seen a farm before. So you got to go fair ways, usually half an hour or better to get to an outdoor range, when my range is less than 15 minutes away, and it's a much easier drive, much more leisurely. So I, generally speaking, it's indoor. I will try and do some outdoor stuff at some point in time, especially as I try and get some longer guns, which is a plan. Gizzard, good to see you, Gizzard Gary. Appreciate it, man. So outdoor range, that'll come at a later time, hopefully at some point. I've talked with a buddy of mine who's a cinematographer, wants to do a better intro for the channel. That's a permanent intro, so I don't have to do a different intro for every single video. I make a new intro every time I do one, and that's half an hour, 40 minutes of work to go into 20 seconds of video, which is kind of ridiculous. But so we've thought about doing something kind of fun and doing some outdoor with like the whatever, the little drones and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. I don't know. That's pretty low ball on the list, but we'll see. Lauren, I'm glad I'm not the only one who has guns randomly lying around. Dude, seriously, there's always a gun lying around somewhere. There just always is, as long as I'm at home, because again, I like to dry fire. I just think it's fun. I think that's part of the experience to me, as long as it's safe, of course, but still. Scott, I'm only interested in older Smiths, which this is definitely not. So I can appreciate that. I definitely can. Kevin Jung, Nonsense 9 is a fine round. I'm with you, my friend. I agree with that. I definitely do. I definitely do. Let's see. Dexter, I wonder how much slower the rounds will be. That's a good question. I don't know. You got me, man. I don't know. No, Mike's good to see you, man. Do yourself a favor and buy some rims moon clips. You won't have to tool your bullets brass in and out. So I played around with this a little bit. I could do everything by hand. No tool was required or anything. They're sort of a pain, I'll admit, but I was able to do it without any sort of a tool or anything. So I will check out rims moon clips. I have no shame in doing that. But these I think will work reasonably well. So Steven, hold tight to that wheel gun. Wait, it's a 9mm. Never mind. Go ahead and hug it and give it some love. All right, fair enough. Yeah, Scott. So just remember to keep your fingers away from the cylinder. So I got to tell you guys that is my biggest fear right there. At first, you guys know I wrap my fingers through. That's a thing for me. So this is what I'm thinking. Tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, it's low. This is 9mm. I mean, we've got a fair amount of distance, and that's a pretty closed cylinder. There's not a lot of. I guess it's headroom. Is that what that is? But I feel like this is going to be okay to do this. I hope. But you guys who are experts, you're going to have to tell me, man, because this is a new experience for me. Let's see, Kevin Jung, FYI. Wow, I can't speak anymore. The Ruger and Smith Moon clips don't fit each other. Yeah, I did hear that. I was warned about that the other day. So I made very sure to get the right moon clips for this. All right, got to catch up here for a moment, guys. Range Randy. You're a drummer. How about some drum music, intro and exit? I mean, I could put on one of the old bands, some of their music. And I thought about that when I first started the channel, but I don't think it sounds all that great. Don't tell anyone I said that. That was, 20 plus years ago. It's a very different time now. So, and I like the song that's on the intro. I think it's a pretty cool song, even though some people absolutely hate it, which I realize. Corey from Erie, PA, good to see you. Went and shot the P10C today. I forgot how much better than the G19 it is. Well, it is a fantastic gun, no doubt about it. I think there are a lot of similarities between the two. The grip angle is certainly a little different. And the ergonomics, how that P10 will sit in your hand is going to be a little bit different, but they are both fantastic guns. I'm glad you had a great time with it. Definitely am. Dustin, good to see you. What's up, KS, CZ, Shadow 2, or STI Staccato P? Well, I'd go Shadow 2. I haven't found anything that's dethroned that, but I will tell you, the STI Staccato P is quickly becoming in the top 5 for me. That is a tremendous firearm. It is so much fun to shoot. And to me, it's one of those guns that I love, guns that make you look like a better shooter than you are. I need that. I really do. And so I like that Staccato P a lot. I was very excited and impressed with it. Scott, oh great, the chat just went downhill. Snob is here. That's pretty funny. Jim Gregory, thanks, man. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate the super chat, brother. Much appreciated. Use the teacup grip. Scott, are you serious? I mean, is that really the thing? That is to me morally wrong. I don't want to do that. That's not comfortable, and I don't feel like there would be any control whatsoever. So I got to run with this. I'm going to try it. My thumb may not appreciate it, but I'm going to give it a try and see what happens. We shall see. Need a shorter left thumb on that revolver. Okay, Randy, I appreciate that. So yeah, this is going to be a learning experience, good people. It really is. Ken, do a review on the Colt. Well, which one? I have done, I guess I've only done one Colt on the channel. It was a Defender 90. Great gun, by the way. But I've had many a Colt in my past. I'm a big fan, by the way. Kevin Jung, you can use my band stuff if you want to. Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. That's cool. That's a very cool offer. Yeah, we can talk. We could definitely talk. Kevin Roberts, shooting a revolver like a pistol. Pain is a good teacher. Yeah, that's very true. You won't do that again if you take a portion of your thumb off, which I don't plan on doing. That would be a bummer. There'd be a lot less shooting on the channel for a while. CCAM, never had an issue with flame burn on fingers, and I've shot a J-frame a lot. Okay, good to know. Good to know. You guys are awesome, man. This is so helpful. Really appreciate it. Scott, I know somebody that bought one of the steel frame Walthers over a Shadow 2. Well, you guys know I've done a video between the two, and I like them both. I mean, that Walther was a good gun. I don't think it was worth the price tag. That Pro was what, $1,700. That's a lot of money. I mean, you're in TSO territory at that point in time, and I think the TSO is, to me, the TSO is a better gun. Just my opinion on that. But throwing that against the Shadow 2, for what you get for the Shadow 2 for the money, and you can find them, pretty easily for $1,100 anyway. That's tough to beat, man. They're such a fine shooter. There was a guy centerfire looking at one the other day, and I was really trying to help them sell it. I was probably more annoying than anything else because I was pretty excited. But I was like, man, you got to buy that gun. That is a tremendous firearm. I don't think he bought it. I think he was annoyed with me, but I tried, Dexter, look up some videos on proper grips. Good call. Good call. Snowman, good to see you, even though your message was retracted. I see you out there somewhere. RTT, Guns and Gear, good to see you, man. No, Mike's teacup is joking. Put one thumb over the other and survive. Grip it hard. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Charles, cross your lower thumb. Oh, it just disappeared. Where did it go? Cross your lower thumb over your upper thumb. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Man, you guys are good. Okay, Snowman, here we are. KS Legion promotion is only for the 226, 229, 220, 238, and 938. I'm okay with that. I'm still getting the X5. That's all right. Some of those promotions, I will tell you, when I got, which one was it? It was another SIG that I picked up. It might have been the X Carry. There was a promotion for like $100 at the SIG store. They made it so darn difficult to get all that stuff done. It's hardly worth your time at that point. So that it's a little bit of a pain. I'm more interested in the guns than the promotions. Pistol piece. Some of the Shadow 2s have frame cracks. I haven't met one that does, but I have heard that before. Which is shocking to me. But I've heard it, no doubt about it. Nightwolf TV, love the content. Thank you for what you do. Hey, thanks, man. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate that. It's very nice of you. Music lover, KS, the annoying salesperson. That's me. It's totally me. I couldn't be in sales. There's no way. That is just, I'm not designed for that. Brian Walter, you should, if I could only have one on the P and the Shadow 2. I have both now and bet you would go with the P. Well, I don't know. That might be an interesting video. We'll see. You may have given me an idea on that, Brian. Scott KS should probably get a job there. Centerfire would never hire me. There's no way. Talk about annoying. Oh, there's that guy again. No, that wouldn't happen. I'm kidding. I mean, they're great. Love them to death. But no, I think we all keep a weary distance from each other, and that's probably for the best. Snowman, you should do a review on the P226 single action only Legion versus the Staccato P. The P226 SAO trigger is the best SAO trigger ever. I've heard that a number of times, and I would love to try one. I had a P226 Legion. It was a standard one. I actually prefer the 229 a little bit more, to be honest with you. That would be interesting. That would certainly be a very interesting video. Still different functionality. I mean, the Staccato P is a little bit more 1911, but I would certainly be down for it. See, Kim, my Shadow 2 is so much better than my brother-in-law's Legion 229. And the Shadow, it's pretty amazing. It's got an advantage, though. It's got an advantage of weight out front. That's a huge thing, when you put all that weight out front, whereas the 226 or 229, they're balanced very well, and they certainly have some weight to them. There isn't as much weight out front. Even the 226 isn't as long as the Shadow 2. So there's going to be a difference there, a difference I think, in muzzle rise and that sort of thing. And obviously it's going to be different depending on the person, but I would think that would definitely make a difference. And Scott, people with the Shadow 2 have the frame cracks, probably are competition shooters. That's entirely possible. Kevin Roberts, you kind of grab your right wrist with your left wrist and put your thumb over behind your top thumb. We don't do that when you go back to your pistol. Slide bite. Okay. Okay. I got a lot to try on this. Ken, Shadow 2 wins. Maybe. Tommy Guns, good to see you. How do you like the FN509? Just shot mine last along with my Glock and Smith & Wesson, and that trigger rocks. I like the 509. I like the tactical the best of them all, just because it gives you everything you need. If you want to run a can, if you want to run an optic, it has basically everything. So I liked that gun. It was a good gun. It's not here anymore. I don't know what that tells you, but it was not one that I felt was a permanent addition to the collection, but I certainly enjoyed reviewing it, and I thought it was a better gun than I thought it was going to be. It definitely had what I thought everybody needed, really. Music lover, I don't like top heavy pistols anymore. It's got to have the right balance. I would agree with that. If it's top heavy for the sake of being top heavy, and I will tell you this thing is top heavy. It definitely drags. I can feel the drag on it a little bit more. There's not enough weight back here, partially because everything is hanging over my hand. So I would totally agree with that. I mean, it takes a little bit more energy to keep that muzzle up. Now this is actually a little bit lighter than what it appears, but yeah, I can totally appreciate that. And you've got to have a heavy gun that's got a good balance. I mean, like the Beretta 92, I think it has a fantastic balance to it, especially in the Centurion, because it slides just a hair shorter than the regular or the Brigadier, that sort of thing. Young Guns. Have you seen the new P320 VTAC? Has a rear dovetail sight behind the RMR plate, so you can put co-witness sights. So the VTAC now has an RMR plate too. That's pretty cool because the original one did not, from what I remember. So I have not checked that out. I enjoyed the VTAC. That was a good gun. And of the three original X series that I had, the VTAC had the best trigger in it, bar none. So it was a good gun, but I'd be curious to see that. NC Civil War, good to see you. Asking Big Johnson, did you ever find out what happened to the shell load that jumped back and hit you in the face? I'd be curious about that as well. Snowman KS. Why does everyone love the Shadow 2? I think that's what it comes down to, Snowman. I think it's that balance. I think it strikes a really good balance. And although it's a bigger gun, the grip isn't so big that it excludes a lot of shooters. You know, some guns are so big for the sake of being big. I think of something like the FN 45. It's the FNX 45, I think. That thing is massive. I mean, it is a 4x4 in the hand, and so people with smaller hands are just not going to enjoy it as much. I like to think I have reasonably large hands, but frankly, I didn't enjoy it that much. But there's enough contour and enough thinness to that Shadow 2 that a lot of people are going to enjoy it, and that balance is so good for a lot of shooters. Now, not everybody, in fact. A young lady that works at Centerfire, she's a great shooter. And she carries a 938. I mean, she loves that little snappy gun. I'm not a fan of it, but she was talking about a SP01 that she absolutely loved. She thought it was an incredible firearm, and I asked her, "Have you ever shot a Shadow 2?" Thinking, hey, I've got a gun that I can top. I was going to totally story top her. And she said, yeah, I've shot a Shadow 2 and I didn't like it very much. And it happens. I mean, it's not for everyone, but I think it is a tremendous firearm. I really do. And I'm going to eventually prove her wrong. That is now a mission of mine. So we'll see. All right, catching up here for a moment. I know I'm behind again. Noel, good to see you. Actually, we've already spoken tonight, I think. Can you make a video of your guns that will stay with you forever and you would not ever sell? Sure, that I could do. Yeah, that would be challenging because I mean there are a few. I mean there aren't hundreds or anything. I'm not going to kid any of us. My collection's not that big. It can't be. But yeah, I mean I could certainly do a video of kind of like my top 5 or maybe top 10. I mean, if it gets much beyond that, the video would drag on forever and people would not want to watch it. So I have to be kind of careful with that, but I would certainly do that. Wise guys are us. Then I just totally lost it. There you are. Any advice on how to deface the serial number? No, thank you. I'm sure we won't even read that out loud, and nobody will answer that one, hopefully. And hopefully you were kidding on that question. Ferrets with guns, just shoot the Shadow 2 and you will see. I'm ruined to all other guns. Well, maybe not. You've got a pretty good collection, Ferrets. You do. Shane, Gen 3 guide rod and adapter and a Gen 5. Well, so I've got the adapter for the Gen 4. I don't know if it translates to a Gen 5. I've not tried to mix match those parts, but I do know that the Gen 3, like guide rod, spring assembly, and frame will work on a Gen 4 if you have the adapter for it. It'll work fine. I've done that with the Nomad defense frame a couple of times with very good success. So I don't know about the Gen 5 though. Good question. All right, see Kim should try the SPO1 Bull Shadow. Man, I'd love to. I would absolutely love to. Ranger 10 millimeter. When will you be reviewing the official Yeet cannon? Dude, I don't know. Guys, that's, I struggle with that. I really struggle with that. I get the humor in it all, but no, probably not. Probably not. I would have a hard time keeping it serious. I really would. It would have to be a comedy. The Yeet cannon. Steve, Big Taco, shout out from Shawnee. What's up, man? I know Shawnee well. A wise guys attempt at bad humor. It's all good, man. No worries. No mics. I think the ATF puts out a pamphlet. Ask them. There you go. Scott, yeah, you can get the SPO1 pretty close to the Shadow 2 with aftermarket parts and some elbow grease. Yeah, the Shadow Orange, the SPO1 Shadow Orange is very, very close. But again, they feel different in the hand. The Shadow 2 is going to be heavier. It's going to be a little bit bigger. But they are both exquisite firearms. There's no doubt about that at all. Kevin Roberts, she told KS that she didn't like the Shadow 2. She'll blasphemy. I mean, a little backhand there, but just because, gently, of course, kind of that French kind of sort of thing. She understood. Dennis B. Black Diamond Guns and Gear did an amazing Yeet cannon video. See, that's perfect. That's what that is the right place to do that. JW, did you see the P320X5 Legion? Absolutely. I'm hoping it's on the way at the end of the month. That's the hope at this point in time, because I am stoked about it. No doubt about that. Gizzard, wonder if the Yeet cannon comes with side-mounted red dot option. I hope so, man. I hope so. Charles, live in California, want to buy a 3-inch Chiappa or Chiappa? Is it Chiappa? I think Chiappa Rhino private sale. Okay, that's cool. They look like really cool guns. I don't think I've ever seen one in person. I don't think, but I've seen them on video. Certainly, they look very cool. Revolvers are not really a thing around here. It's hard to find revolvers in gun shops around here. Now, this was a special order, so it's tough. They are just not very prevalent. Snowman, 357 SIG versus 10 millimeter. I've never shot a 357 SIG. I'll be the first to admit it. I shot every other pistol caliber, I think, every other common pistol caliber, but not a 357 SIG. I need to do that. That is certainly on the bucket list. Ranger saying 10 millimeter all day. I've had a great time with 10 millimeter. It's a lot of fun, but I would love to try a 357 because 10 millimeter's got some snap to it. If you guys saw that Rock Island video I did this weekend, and you notice, I mean, my hand was popping off almost every single time. Part of it's a crappy wrist. There's not much I can do about that. And part of it was the recoil. It was a little hot in there as well. I'm trying to make up as many excuses as I can. But I noticed that. So I would be curious to know how the 357 does and try and get it to the same conditions that the 10 millimeter was in, and preferably out of a 1911, but I don't know that that's feasible. So I'd have to find something that's a pretty heavy 357 SIG. So Mischievous Misanthrope, good to see you. Archon Type 8 coming soon. I don't know. I would be all for it. You know that. But I've not heard anything. In fact, I reached out to my buddy Sarge at Archon, and I have not heard back from him on anything. So who knows? Who knows? Dan O'Neill, good to see you. NC, did I miss the latest TAC Pack opening? So I am toning it way down on the product stuff. Yes, I released the core. I say that I just released a belt video, but those belts are fantastic. I've been working with them for so many months now. But I'm not doing as much as I used to. I used to do a product video almost every Sunday, and I'm really kind of trailing that back a little bit. And the TAC Pack videos, I really enjoyed the stuff in TAC Pack. I think they do a good job, but people were starting to tell me they were getting tired of it. And that's a good sign for me to say, okay, we've done this. You guys get it. You guys get what it is. It's no longer informative at that point. It's just, what is it? What's in the box at this point? So it was my time to say, guys, thank you. Stop. I'm ready to move on to other things. So no more TAC Pack. But they genuinely do a good job. They're good people. So I enjoyed supporting their cause. The gun snob, 357 Sig is an awesome round, not nearly as snappy as 10, but it is snappy. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'd love to try it. Well, if I can find a 357 Sig that I can borrow or whatever, find to try out, I definitely will. Ranger Andy, 357 Sig ammo is expensive. Yes, it is. That's another reason why I've kind of stayed away from it. It's the same reason why I've stayed away from 10 millimeter. It's kind of expensive as well, although so is 45 ACP. So is 380, to be honest with you. That's why I stick with 9 millimeter. There you go. There's the secret. Snowman KS, do you think HK P30 guns will ever drop in value, or had John Wick made them too popular? I don't think John Wick did really anything to make them more popular. At least I didn't get that vibe from it. It was cool to see him shooting him, I will say. But I don't, HKs have always been expensive. They did drop in price significantly 2 years ago, year and a half ago, something like that, but still a little bit more expensive than I think they need to be. I don't think they'll drop any more than that though. Pistol Pete, P226 stainless and 357 Sig. Well, I mean, again, man, I'd be all down for that. That'd be pretty cool. Mark, KS, use 357 Sig chambered pistol is probably going to be a P226. Okay, cool. Thanks. Music Lover, when are you going to do snacks from around the world? Probably never. I like potato chips. That's it. I'm pretty boring. Leo Red, good to see you, man. I haven't seen you for a while. Good to see you. Snowman, you can find a CPO 226 357 Sig all day on Gunbroker for under 450. Wow, that's actually a pretty good deal. JW, you can get a 357 Sig barrel for your 1911, I do believe. Well, that would be interesting as well. You'd have to find the right barrel for the right brand, but that would be pretty cool. And Mark's saying P30s chambered in 40 are going for about half the price. But that's the same for a lot of the 40 caliber. And then you got to go with the 40, or you get a conversion barrel if that's available for it, which is certainly a doable thing. I'm really picky about P30s. P30 for me, the only one would be the V1 LEM. That would be it. And those are hard to find. Now in a 40, probably not as much, but I'm never looking in the direction of 40s, which probably means I'm missing out. Music Lover, 1639 has put a damper on gun buying. It's all messed up. I don't know. I mean, in some parts of the country, yeah, probably. Thankfully not here. What other questions do you guys have? Or witty comments? No, Mike's just picked up a couple of guns last Saturday. What'd you pick up, man? LZ, good to see you. The CZ P10 optic mounting plates are available for sale at CZ USA web store. They are the CZ official factory plates that we've been waiting for. That's good. Boy, it took them long enough, but that's awesome that they're out there now. I imagine they're still just the RMR and the Delta Point. Like they said, but good that they're out there. Rightly, anyone try the Remington 700 5R Gen 2 24-inch 308 or 6.5 Creedmoor? I have not. I have not. Kevin Jung, you need to buy ammo now that the background check for ammo is in effect. Man, that's just nuts. I don't understand that at all. Who wants to go through a background check to buy ammo? Oh, hopefully you're buying in bulk, a lot of bulk, so you don't have to go through that very often. Okay, no Mike's first AR, congratulations. Bretta, you'd been wanting. Nice. It's awesome. The gun snob, I thought Kansas was better than Oklahoma, according to Gizzard Gary. Well, he's obviously right. But no revolvers. I'll stay here. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. At least in Kansas City, that's revolvers really aren't a thing. I mean, there are usually a couple of Rugers, maybe a Smith and Wesson, but there is no real selection. You're not going to find Chiappas. You're not going to find some of the wilder calibers or brands or revolvers in general. It's just not a thing. Whereas, you run the gamut of 1911s and polymers and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you can find a lot of other things. So a little bit more up my alley. But yeah, the wheel guns aren't really as much of a thing. NC, any interest in the Walther PPK? Would like to see a good tabletop and range review on that. I haven't really thought about it, but I'm not opposed to trying one. I mean, we'll just have to see. I'd have to see where I could find one, perhaps, but I'm not opposed to it. Snowman Chaos, when you had your P229 Legion, would you keep the standard GG trigger or put a flat GG trigger in it? I kept the standard. Standard was fine to me. I mean, a flat would have been interesting to try, but I didn't really feel that it was necessary. I think Legions have a fantastic trigger. Now, that said, I don't like any of the double action pulls on the P229 or 226 or any of the P series very much. I think they're a little heavier than they need to be. In fact, I picked up one and it was I want to say it was an Elite, and it was in kind of a desert color. It was a beautiful gun. It was a really cool gun, but it wasn't a Scorpion. It was something a little bit different. I don't know if it was a special edition. It had the short reset trigger and all of that, but I swear that trigger was probably 11 pounds. And when I think about something like this guy, this is about 8.5 pounds double action. That is tremendous. And it's so uber smooth. I mean, the double action's just almost effortless with this thing. Or even something like the P01. I mean, the double action on this really isn't bad. It's probably 9.5 pounds, 9 pounds, something like that, but still very doable. When you get, 10, 11, 12, 13 pounds, man, that's a lot. But the single action and the reset on the Legion are exquisite. They are fantastic. Okay, Gizzard Gary, plenty of revolvers, just get out into the smaller rural areas. Okay, yeah, that's probably true. Yuma Gunner, would you trust the Archon pistol? 110%, absolutely. I've got a lot of rounds to the black one. Now, admittedly, the FDE one or whatever you want to call it, I've only shot that maybe 150 rounds, but it was flawless. It was fine. I think they're fantastic guns, and I have not had a single bobble at all. So I'm excited to say that. Ranger Andy Cabela's usually has a good selection of revolvers. That's true. That's true. I don't, they're not really on my radar. Neither is Bass Pro. There's nothing wrong with them per se, but I prefer the local small gun shops whenever possible. But that also means you're going to get less of a selection most of the time. So I guess it's a little bit of a give and take. BM, so many of these YouTube tactical guys are in piss poor physical shape. Which is the most important aspect of self-defense and preservation? Well, it's an interesting point. Very true. I'm not a tactical guy. I mean, I look like an accountant. So that's not my cup of tea. I'm just a gun nerd. That's all I am. Ranger 10mm, what's your preferred carry gun? The Shield 2.0, generally speaking, although the Glock 43X is making it more and more into the carry rotation, I like them both. I like them both a lot. Winter carry, I would do a Glock 19, or I would do, and I did a lot last year, the Smith & Wesson 2.0C, the 4-inch. Now I've got the 3.6, and I'm actually really excited to start carrying this. I need to get some new sights for it, but this thing stayed. I did not think this would stay, but this is a phenomenal gun, by the way. I've been very, very impressed with that. So I will probably start carrying that more. Snowman, have you seen the Rex Alpha? I've seen it. I would love to try one. They look really cool. And I tried to talk to the Fime group, but they didn't really care for my Delta video. So I don't think anything is going to happen there. I'd still love to try the Alpha at some point, but we'll have to see how that goes. Kevin Jung's saving up right now to move to a free state. Chaos, any interest in competition? Shooting, I used to compete in handguns and also shotguns years ago. I really don't anymore. Between time and, the money really is dedicated to the channel at this point. So not a lot of fun money for anything else. And I'm not sure the wrist would do very well with that. I just really don't. So not so much anymore, but I used to love it, man. I used to absolutely love it. Riley Faust, really appreciate it, man. Thanks for the super chat. Thanks for what you do. Enjoy the videos. Appreciate it. And I enjoy you as well. Thank you. Still creepy. Good to see you, man. So you don't trust the P365 or what? I mean, I had a good experience with it. I can't deny the amount of experiences or feedback that I've gotten from other people, but my personal experience with the samples that I had, and I had 2 samples, and you guys knew that. I said that in the videos. They were fine. They did fine. And the primary sample, the first one that I got, which is what I put the majority of the rounds through, I mean, I think it hit 1,500 before I said, I'm done. I'm out. Time to move on to something else. And it was great. It was fine. It had that little peening issue in the very beginning, but that turned out to not be a thing. So I had a good experience with it. Pistol Pete, you are an accountant. I am not an accountant. Oh God, I would not want to be an accountant. No offense to any accountants out there, but that's not for me. No. Ranger 10 just started carrying the 2.0 4-inch. Love it. Looking to pick up the 3.6 as well. Yeah. So full disclosure, they are basically the same gun. I mean, they really are. The only difference is a tiny bit of length in the front. It's empty, by the way. All these are empty. They always are. But I still like it. I like the balance of it. I like the look of it. It's just a little bit smaller, and I think that's cool, but it still has that full grip. Not a review, but I like this gun. I really do. It has impressed me, and I enjoy shooting these Smith & Wessons. I think they are tack drivers, so I've been very impressed. JW Fusion Firearms makes 357 Sig barrels. Okay, good to know. Good to know. All right, Ranger 10, I know you're big on Harry's holsters, absolutely. But you have heard of Cook's holsters, maybe a review. You know, it's funny. I don't really do much in the way of holster reviews. I did do that hidden hybrid holster, and that was a favor to a friend. And they really are good holsters, and they are relatively local. But Harry does what I need. His holsters do what I need them to do. And once I found something like that, I don't feel a need to try a million different things because it scratches the itch. It does what I need it to do. So I'm not into really trying a bunch of different holsters and all that kind of stuff. It just doesn't make sense for me personally. So, I mean, if I came across one, I would certainly investigate it. But other than that, yeah, Dexter, 5-minute warning. Thanks, man. I'm excited to have a bourbon. I'm not lying to you. Pistol Pete, yes, totally stock. I have kept this thing bone stock. You can see a little hinge thing. Can't stand this trigger, but I kept it stock. The sights are all stock as well. I decided to keep it that way because the 2.0C 4-inch has the barrel and the sights and the trigger and everything. And people sometimes on videos, man, even still. In fact, I got into a pretty good debate with a guy about the P365 versus Shield video, which I was very clear about. Yes, it has the sights and the trigger in it, but I was really talking about the stock version. If it isn't in front of you, sometimes people don't like that very much. So I thought, I'll keep this one stock. So I have an example of something stock. Glocks I can always turn back into stock if I need to. That's very easy to do. So I decided to keep it stock, and it's okay. I mean, again, I don't like the hinge trigger, but for the sake of having this example, I'll do it. That's fine. Dustin, have you shot a 210? No. And in fact, this took the place of the 210 for now. I decided this would be a little bit more interesting for me. I don't know if it will be for you guys or not. It was a real debate. I kind of figure neither this or the 210 will be revolutionary in terms of videos or anything like that. But I just really wanted to try a revolver. And the 210 is beautiful. It looks awesome. I bet it's an incredible shooter. But it was almost kind of, well, that's more of the same. This is something way different for the channel and for me. So that's why I went that way. Pistol Pete, yeah, it's not a bad trigger. It's not a bad trigger. It's not ideal for me, but it's not a bad trigger. And the pull on it actually is very good. NC, so are we all invited to your big 4th? Yeah, absolutely, man. Head on down. Let's do this. Actually, we will be 15 stories up overlooking downtown and also out west. So we're going to be able to see half the shows in Kansas City, as long as it's not raining. It's supposed to rain. But if it is not raining, that's going to be our vantage point. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. Did that a couple of years ago as well. And it's an amazing sight because it's sensory overload. You're seeing all these displays, some of them up pretty close, and then some way, way off in the distance, 5 or 10 miles away, but you can see it all if it's clear out, and it's just spectacular. So that's what I'm doing. So Snowman Kiss, have you seen the promotion Springfield Armory is running? I have not. To be honest with you, right now, they're just not on my radar. They really aren't. Nothing wrong with them. They just aren't on my radar. Steve Big Taco, do you shoot exclusively at center fire? Or do you make some of the other ranges? I have shot at the other ranges. I mean, I shot at the Bullet Hole for years and years before center fire was around. And I've shot at Frontier a number of times. They've got a beautiful range, but center fire is kind of my home. And I shoot there 98% of the time. So not opposed to shooting other places, but NC, are you playing as well in a band? Nope, retired in 2013. The wrist fell apart, dude. And I kind of whine about that on videos from time to time. That's the cause of the whole thing. The right one's not so bad, but the left one is a hot mess. So no, 2013, I was done. I hit 30 years almost on the dot and said that was enough. Can't do it anymore. So yes, Dexter, I did hear about the passing of the founder. Yes, that was too bad. Rest in peace to him for sure. So, well, guys, it's about that time. So, as always, you guys, thank you so much for hanging with me on a Tuesday night, the week of the 4th. And by the way, everybody have an incredible 4th of July, a safe 4th of July. I hope you guys have a lot of fun and all that kind of good stuff. But we're going to be doing it again tomorrow night, not here. I think it's going to be on Big Johnson's channel for the Three Guys Chat. Hope you guys can join us there. But otherwise, again, always means the world that you guys will hang out on a Tuesday night with me. It's a lot of fun and an amazing group. You guys are awesome. You guys are great people. So thank you guys very much. And we will do this again very soon. Talk to you.